Do you know how to use Fibonacci retracements to potentially identify significant areas of support and resistance? I'm Brett Crowder with Charles Schwab, and I want to show you some key points in doing that. So I'm going to come over to the SPX, and recently it had a high back in February. And let's zoom in on this area so we can see it better. It had a high back in February, and then it dropped down to a low there in April. And so when drawing Fibonacci's, and to get Fibonacci's, by the way, you'd want to click on the little box down below here, then click on the percentage sign, and that will allow you to draw your Fibonacci lines. Now, I'm going to take it from a high, and this is one way to do it, is look for the significant move. I mean, some people can look at the minor moves, which does work, but generally speaking, you may want to start with a big move and then go from there. And so as I draw this Fibonacci, one thing I want to check is to see, does it have any validity to it? Is there any indication that it is actually functioning as support and resistance? And if we look at this, we'll see it drop down to a low at the 50%. Now, by the way, real quick, they're 50%, 38, and 62 are considered by some technicians the more important ones. I did take off the 23 and the 78 because it kind of can clutter the chart. And so we're going to focus on these three. And notice the 50% did hold as support. It rallied back up, came down, it held again as support. Rallied back up, dropped down. Now that old support, new resistance. And on this very bullish day, you could see it did not break through it. In fact, it held. It rallied again, held again, and just recently on Friday, it did break through that old resistance. And so now we have higher highs and higher lows. Is this the start of an uptrend? That's the question, right? This day is not over. Will that 50% hold? Have to keep an eye on it. But it does give validity to this 50% level from all the touches that we've seen, and that's a great way just to start looking at it. And so we'll see if this rallies up to the old high that we saw earlier this year, or if this fails and we see a possible retracement back down to the old low. And so at an inflection point, something to keep an eye on. But I wanted to just address ways to draw those Fibonacci's. Now, we teach lots of classes on all kinds of technical analysis. I'm going to put a link to one specifically on Fibonacci. Check it out. Hopefully, it'll give you some ideas on just how to improve your game with Fibonacci and other technical analysis as well. So I hope to see you there and see you soon.